it's afternoon now. I just spent 3 hours getting my speakers mounted. I took 2 pieces of 1x4 furring strips that I had left over, cut them, stained them. I got some L brackets at Lowe's and have them mounted up behind the speakers. I needed a little bit shorter screws here, so I use these little plastic spacers. I don't like the way that looks, but they're in there for now. And these mounting bolts here that actually thread up into the bottom of the speakers, the only ones I had that match the threads are too long. And so I'm going to swing to Lowe's and get something a little bit shorter so it goes flush against the bottom of the shelf here. Yes, Lefty, Lefty, hey, stop licking the salt. I know I'm sweaty. So that's done, and these things are up here, these shelves, and once these are tightened down, squeezed onto the wood, these are going to be super tight. So much better than what I had stuck up there before. I really wasn't happy with it. So I'm going to do a quick vacuum. Yes, I'm going to vacuum up my drill shavings, and then I'm going to get that new piece of carpeting out here and see how it lays in, and see if I have the energy to get that installed here this afternoon. Okay. Break it in. You comfortable? That's good. So Lefty, what I want to do is I want to disconnect these main wires, okay, these right here, and then we're going to trace them to see where they go, okay? So I'm going to need your help. So we're going to get out my test meter. We need to pass some power through this wire and test at the other ends to see where it's going. Yeah, these here. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to need your help. Oh, it is not nap time. Excuse me. So when I bought the ambulance, the inverter was gone, and this is where it should have been installed. So what I found back here, this is 120 volt. It's like plugged into itself, and from my call with Marquis, it makes sense to me now. One of these is shore power that goes into the inverter, and the other one is 120 coming out of the inverter going into the house. So when they took the inverter out, they just bypassed the inverter basically and plugged these right in, so whenever you plug into shore power right now, it turns on all the outlets in the box. The 12 volt input is these cables here, I'm assuming, that are all kind of taped up. So I'm going to unwrap these finally. I'm at a point now where it's time to finally get these identified, because I think I just figured out the wiring under the driver's seat. So let's get this unwrapped, and then we're going to probe this one wire. There we go. Shoddy terminating. They just taped these together, positive and negative. Awesome. Okay. And this smaller orange lead, this was the inverter switch wire. So there was on the console up in the driver's compartment, there was a switch for inverter. And so the inverter they had was able to be controlled by that switch. So I have the inverter that I've bought has its own control panel, remote control panel. So I won't be using that orange lead. I used a lot of tape on this. They knew they were messing with a lot of power here. Oh, what's this? Is that gauze? They wrapped it up like it's a wound. Yeah, they did. Holy smokes. They used gauze. Oh, note to self. Don't bang your head on that thing right there, because that really hurts. Oh, ouch. Okay. So now I've got to determine how can I probe that wire so that I know it's the right one. What can I use? Does this have an output? I have never used this for output. has some handwriting on here, but maybe it says on, O-N. Does that look like to you? Right, O-N, on. See, what I think is that when the switch is flipped to on, which enables this pole, which has these two wires, it has this large gauge one, which I believe goes straight into the control box that's in the house. So I think this larger one goes back into that control box because there is a very large gauge positive cable coming in there. And then this smaller gauge, I believe, goes out to that inverter.